Hello RuneScape fans, it's Vamoria here, welcoming you to another episode of RuneScape Quick Lore. This episode we're looking at the Second Age, an age in which a metric ton of stuff happened. So we've got a lot to get through this episode, but here goes. So after Guthix went to sleep at the end of the First Age, various other gods started making their way to Gielinor, including, but not limited to, everyone's favourite blue ass, Saradomin, the god of justice Armadyl, Bandos, and Tumeken, the Menaphite god of the sun that rules over the Caridian desert. After arriving, they all set up shop and start getting to work building a life for themselves. Saradomin establishes a kingdom known as Hallowvale in modern-day southern Mauritania. Armadyl locates the Elder Staff and names it after himself. Bandos expands his territory aggressively, and Tumeken starts a family with Elidinis, becoming father to both Amascut and Icthlarin, I think, the gods of destruction and devouring respectively, before going on to create the rest of the demigods that make up the Menaphite Pantheon. Later in the age, Zaros, one of the original gods made by the elder god Ma way back on Runescape before the First Age, a little bit of history that I cover in my prehistory video, links down below if you want to watch it, rocks up and, unhappy with the other being's claims of godhood, decides to start building an empire for himself. Using the ancient town of Sentistin as his base, he builds an empire unrivaled by today's, using a no-nonsense, wipe out everyone who disagrees style of leadership. Zaros' aggressive expansion of his empire makes Tumeken and the other desert gods nervous that they might be the next target, so looking to preempt this, the Caridian army launches an attack against the Zarosians but are outmanned, outgunned, and outmatched. Knowing that they're likely to lose the war, Amascut and Icthlarin travel the plains to try and find aid. Eventually they discover the powerful Majorat living on Runescape. After a little bit of negotiating, the Majorat come to Gielinor to help the Caridian army, and everything goes swimmingly for the desert armies. For a time. Eventually the Majorat turn on Tumeken, electing to join Zaros instead. Tumeken doesn't like this, and in a bid to save his people, detonates himself, destroying his army and a huge chunk of the Zarosians, while simultaneously turning half of his territory into the desert that it is today. After his victory in the war, Zaros remains unchallenged for a time, and in the interim begins to explore Gielinor with the aim of expanding his empire again. He comes across the Wild Gate and takes it for himself, hoping to use it as a tool. This act cuts off Seren's connection to the Wild Gate, and in turn her elves access to Crystal, which is their main resource. While exploring, Zaros learns of the Elder Gods and the Great Revision. After this, his new intention is to become an Elder God himself, so that he can prevent the destruction that the Great Revision normally entails. One of the Majorat that defected to Zaros was known as Zamorak. Becoming tired of Zaros' leadership style, Zamorak begins to plan a rebellion and overthrow his master. While on a mission with several other Zarosian generals, Zamorak is able to co-opt a magical book used by a scholar known as Perjor. The book was supposed to magically translate Perjor's experience into written form for Zaros to read later on. Zamorak was able to copy this book and find a way to manipulate and change the stories held within. Using this method, Zamorak is able to hide several important plot points from his master, such as the part where he's able to buy the Elder Staff from a mortal who's able to steal it from some of Armadyl's followers. Over the following years, Zamorak schemes to wrest control from Zaros, and eliminates several of his colleagues in secret, as well as coming into possession of the Stone of Jazz at some point. It isn't clear when this happens though. When everything is in place, Zamorak makes his move and uses the combined power of the Elder Stone and the Elder Staff to defeat Zaros. It's important to note that I say defeat and not kill. Knowing that his time to perish is drawing closer, During the battle, Zaros abandons his broken body and returns his incorporeal spirit to Phrenisce, at the same time transferring a huge amount of godly energy to Zamorak, which leads to his ascension. The fight was exhausting though, and Zamorak collapses afterwards. When he awakes, he finds himself on Infernus, the homeworld of demons, several of which sided with Zamorak during his rebellion. Here he begins to rebuild his strength and create an army of his own. Back on Gielinor, without a leader, the Zarosian Empire begins to crumble. During the ensuing power vacuum, and in Zamorak's absence, Saradomin steps up and confiscates the Stone of Jazz from the newly ascended god of Chaos. Upon his return to Gielinor, Zamorak does not care for the fact that one of his greatest treasures has been taken from him, and declares war on Saradomin. This marks the start of the God Wars, and the end of the Second Age. And there you have it. I said it would be a wild ride, didn't I? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give it a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Next time, we're going to be diving into the God Wars, a truly exciting time and one of my favourites. I've been Vamoria, and this has been Quick Lore. Thank you very much for watching.